What's up, everybody? Carlton Flowers here with the Go Political Channel, and we are back again on the topic of the ICE raids in Chicago. And in today's topic, I just want to talk about how gullible people are, just believing everything that you see on the internet. So we're going to look into this whole deal that went down on South Shore Drive, where they claimed that they were zip tying children, black children, and scooping everybody up and deporting black citizens. And look at a few videos on TikTok and then show you a prime example of how gullible people are and how false information is put out there. And it's going to make you wonder why we believe the stuff that we see just because it's presented on the internet. And then I'm going to explain to you why people fall for this kind of stuff. So let's just start out here and check out the area where the action went down. Here we are on the south side, South Shore in Chicago. Here it is on the map. And this is where the apartment building is. It's on East 75th Street and South Shore Drive. So let's take a look at what the building looks like. Let's just zip this down here and have a look around. So here's the building right here. That's the apartment building that got raided, where they pulled out, 37 Tren de Aragua gang members who got deported. And so for those of you who don't know it, who are all upset about the ICE raid, this is a trap house, okay? Also known as a crack house. And so the people who live in this area, they know what goes on here. There's a bunch of clucks that live in this building. Now, what is a cluck? For those of you who don't know the street lingo, a cluck is a person who is addicted to crack cocaine. All right, people that are on crack or methamphetamine, crystal, they call it ice. There's several different names. So what they do, you got the drug dealers that are in this building, the Tren de Aragua gang members that run their drug operations. And then the people who live in here that are basically under siege, but they're addicted to drugs, they have to put up with it because that's the only life that they know. So that's your building right there. This is the crack house. This is the crack house. And I'll also mention that this building was in danger of foreclosure. And it was in violation of a whole bunch of building codes. And I'm going to show you a video of what it looks like on the inside. All right. And the city of Chicago just lets this building go on. They let people live here and they know what's going on the inside. It's a crack house and they just allow it. They don't want to do anything about it. So that's the house. Now let's check out a video and then we're going to talk about this. And this first video is going to be a reaction by this gentleman here that is just disgusted and outraged that they're zip tying children. So let's hear what he has to say. And then I'm going to show you a little bit more background about the picture that he is depicting here in the background. So let's listen to this real quick.
So I'm going to need you to explain it to me like I'm 10. I want you to really break this down to me like I'm 10 years old and tell me why ICE agents zip tying black babies in Chicago, because I can't for the life of me understand why this happened. Why was this necessary? These are black babies, American citizens living in Chicago, but ICE agents are zip tying them because they pose a threat to who? They are a danger to what? I need you to explain this to me like I'm 10. Not only why did this happen, why is there not collective outrage behind it? Why is this not on the news? Why is this not being covered? Why is this not being talked about by almost anybody but a handful of black people in this country?
Okay, so why aren't they talking about this? Just a handful of people talking about this. He was a little bit, just a little bit on the zesty side. That was very interesting. But let's move on and let's dig a little deeper into this picture that he showed. So he takes this picture. It's a screenshot from another video. And it just so happens to be that the child depicted in the picture doesn't even reside in Chicago. comes from another content creator that he stole this content from, but we immediately believe what he's saying. So now let's go and look at the video where this is sourced from. Here we go, right here. Let's check this video out. So there it is right there. That's where the picture comes from. This is a police officer. I can't remember where he lives, but he makes funny videos playing around with his son, who's smiling and having fun, putting his little baby in handcuffs. It's pretty hilarious. And so this, all of a sudden, becomes the zip-tied black children that are being snatched up out of that apartment building. So let's check out a video. Let's go to the next one and show you what the actual building looks like. And we're even going to take a look inside. So I'm going to jump to this next one here. And this is showing you the conditions of the building before the ICE raid went down. So let's check this out.
Step over right quick. Put my face mask on. Look at this. It's wide open. Risk kids, women, anybody get snatched up. Look, just wide open. Boards. Now there's been a hoping to run into some of the Venezuelans. That way she ain't bullshit. Regular law. Regular. This.
So the building is in serious disrepair. You can watch the whole thing. He goes on, and it's just disgusting. You can see that there's water leaks. It looks like just sewage on the floor. There's boarded up rooms. There's boarded up windows, and they're putting the bars on the doors of the vacant units that are inside the building. But this is the place that we're all in an uproar that ICE raided. So basically, Tren de Aragua comes in, squats on this building, takes it over, turns it into their trap house to run their drug operation. And so they come in, ICE comes in and raids it because the city of Chicago doesn't want to do anything about it. Of course, as we all know, crime is down in Chicago. You know, it's a panacea. And I guess we're happy with trap houses like this being in operation because, crime is down. You know, we're down from 700 murders down to 450. So things are just peachy in Chicago. Now let's check out a couple videos from someone that was doing some reporting that is in the know. This is interesting. Let's hear what this lady has to say about the raid.
Chicago, you need to stop lying and saying, and people on this internet need to stop lying and saying that they're coming for black people. Yes, there was a building in a black community that was not majority black because it had been overran by illegal gang bangers. Let's be clear. So why everybody want to keep throwing that narrative around, half of South Shore is invaded by illegals. That's the truth. So don't get on here saying black people are being came for. They're coming because they're in our neighborhoods and our communities. That's why. So yes, they're going to go in buildings where black people live and sleep because they put them in buildings where black people live and sleep. South Shore, born and raised. I know what I'm talking about. Stop pushing that narrative because it's not correct.
Yeah, she's right. Okay, so actually I was born and raised in the South Shore area too, 99th and South LaSalle. Still have family all over Chicago, so I know this area that they're talking about, and she told the truth. Let's hear the next follow-up video real quick where she goes into a little bit more detail about the buildings. Check this out.
questioning about who I am and where I'm at, this is Adam Clayton Powell. This is the building that everyone is in an uproar about. So as I said, South Shore, this is your community, your neighborhood, and this building was not majority black when the ICE came the other day. Yes, black people were affected, but this building was overran by illegal Venezuelan gangs. And I just had several conversations with residents who are moving their stuff out of here that confirmed that. So stop letting media put that false narrative in your head that somebody coming for you, because they not. You was born here. You was born on this land. Rise up and stand up on something and stop letting any and everybody tell you something. So,
how about that? So then the truth comes out. There it is from somebody who lives right there in the area. And it's just amazing that we just take this hook, line, and sinker, and it's all racist. It's all racist. Since there's black people in the building, we're not supposed to be able to enforce anything, because if the police come in and try to raid the place, since black people live there, of course, well, we can't do that because it's racist, right? We're just supposed to let this trap house continue its operation and not say a word about it because the city of Chicago is complacent. Just leave it alone. Let the crime continue, because God forbid we wouldn't want to be racist. We don't want to be racist out there. So now you know the truth about what's happening in this building, the trap house. All right. But the question remains, why do people fall for this? That's the question that a lot of people want to know an answer to. Well, I'll tell you why they fall for it. The reason is because people make videos and content. It gets reported on the news that is done in such a way that it triggers an emotional response. So this building gets raided. It's all over CNN. It's all over PMSNBC. And they're just outraged. They're so upset. We even had the story that came from the one resident that was in the building who claims that one of the ICE agents said, F those kids. Okay, so PMSNBC reported on that, didn't do any fact checking. There's not one video, not one recording, no evidence that an ICE agent said F those kids. Neither is there one picture, one video, not a stitch of evidence that kids were zip tied. They even said that kids were naked. They were bathing and they snatched them out of the bathtubs and took them outside and put them in zip ties. So none of that is true, but we believe it because it triggered an emotional response. So when you trigger somebody's emotions, they lose their ability to think critically. Okay, because when you're in your emotions, you're being governed by the caveman brain or the limbic system of your brain, the fight or flight portion of your brain. And when that portion of the brain takes over, the frontal cerebral cortex is short circuited. So you don't have the ability to think. There's no logic. There's no reason. There's no vetting. There's no looking for facts. You accept whatever is being told to you and you just run with that and you believe it because you're in your emotions. So it worked for all of the news media that just jumped on the bandwagon and put it out there. And then that upset millions of people all throughout the country who are just so outraged because the city of Chicago won't do anything to stop blatant crime in places like 7500 South Shore Drive. Just let it continue on because crime is down. No big deal. And then we're upset when the federal government has to send ICE agents in to remove these people. So my question for you is this. Is it more important to not be racist than to crack down on the crime? Is it fair to the people that don't want to live under the conditions like in this building where a gang from South America has taken over? Is it fair to them to just allow them to do what they're doing while the police sit back and watch? knowing full well what's going on inside of that building. Why doesn't the city of Chicago or many of the other cities around the United States, why do they allow these drug operations to continue when they know what's going on? It doesn't make sense to me. You know, I live in the capital city of Missouri, Jefferson City, Missouri. And if there is a known trap house, if there is a place where they know that there's drug operations going down, well, it's going to get shut down immediately. They don't just let it go on, but in the inner city, they allow it to happen. So then you start to wonder, is this what they really want? Why is it that, okay, the major cities is where we have the most concentrated black population, but then we've been brainwashed to believe that the police are bad, that crime is down, and that we should just leave them be. Just let them live like that in disgusting, torn down, nearly condemned buildings like what you see on 7500 South Shore Drive. Isn't that interesting? Is this what they want? Do they just want to keep the population, the majority of black people in the inner cities so that the crime will stay there? And why don't the politicians do anything about the drug cartels, the gangs, the activity, the drug trade that's going on in the inner cities? Why? Now, I did a couple videos. I did a live stream where I was talking about the reason why the politicians are fully aware and don't want to do anything about it. A lot of people don't believe the answer that I gave, but I showed you proof that the politicians are aware and why they let this kind of stuff go on. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link to it. You could check it out and then come back and you let me know. Do you believe the evidence that I showed you, or is this just all made up? Stay tuned. I'm going to have a whole lot more about this. We'll keep the conversation going. That's all I've got for this one. This is Carlton, and I'm out.